Hey guys, thanks for joining me again. Episode 21, Musical Excursions. John Kaminsky here for Cayman Sound. So, why scales? Is it that important? Learn more than a couple scales? Well, I have to say, yes, at least for me. There are many ways to look at improvisation, and you can learn your chord tones, your intervals, arpeggiate them, learn a couple of pentatonic scales, major and minor pentatonic. You can learn your major minor scales. But you start to realize that some of those just don't work for everything. And so when I first started learning different modes off of the major scale, that helped me a lot. And I didn't even know what they were called. I just found notes that worked, and later I found they had names for them. So if you have ways of looking at things, you don't know what to call it, doesn't matter. If you have your own name for things, it's fine. It's just I'm going to be using terms today to describe how I play over these. I have three chords I'm going to play over. I'm just going to be using general terms that most people will use for this kind of stuff. So, like I say, but I have to say, yes, scales are important because the more ways you have of looking at things, the more one will bleed over into the other to where you always will know where you are. So when you're trying to play with feeling, you're not stopped with being blocked by not knowing where the heck to go to say what you want to say on the guitar. So that's something I talked about in previous episodes. And so I just want to show an example of one way to play over a few changes. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to play a E flat minor 7, which I'll be using a Dorian mode for. If you don't know what that is, it's just a second mode of the major scale. Okay, so what that turns out being in relation to the major scale is a 1, 2, flat third, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, then you're back again. Okay? So that's 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. How's that sound? Okay, the next chord I'm going to play is a B7. So, because of where I'm coming from, you know, a seventh chords you think a lot of times mixolydian, which is it's just the the fifth mode from the major scale. So, but a lot of times when you're playing changes that aren't necessarily typical, see how that sounds? It's a little different. A lot of times the melodic minor modes come in handy. Another reason to know some scales. So what I like to use in that situation is that instead of the mixolydian straight, it'd be kind of like a mixolydian with a sharp 4. Mixolydian is just like a major scale and with a flat 7. Okay? So if you have the flat 7, that's the mixolydian. If you sharp the 4, so we're going to have that sound. You could also look at it like a Lydian flat 7 or Lydian dominant, sometimes people call it. So if you hear people say those names, take note what I'm saying here. That'll help you. It took me a long time sometimes on some of these because I didn't know what they were talking about. So when they say Lydian flat 7 or Lydian dominant, it's the same as this mixolydian with a sharp 4 because all it is, don't get crazy confused, it's just a Lydian if you know your major modes. Has that sound. It's in all the outer space kind of sounding when you see in movies and stuff. Only we're going to flat the 7, so today, Lydian flat 7, 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, flat 7. Okay, that's all in relation to the major scale. Now, there's one other chord, just 3 chords to this. A flat 7. Now, for that, I noticed there's a couple different options, but there's one that I think fits more appropriately than any of the others. And that is one of the modes off a harmonic major. Now, if you're not familiar with that, it's just a major scale with a sixth flat. But I'm not going to use A flat harmonic major. I'm going to use one of the modes from D flat, which is the A flat mode of it. So that's the fifth mode of D flat harmonic major is what I'm going to use. Okay, so that turns out to be a 1. This is all in relation to major scale. Okay, so you'll have a 1, flat 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and then you're back again. Okay, so that's what we got. And so it's going to be E flat minor 7 for 2 bars, B7 for 1 bar, A flat 7 for 1 bar. Okay? So enjoy. Have some fun with it.